everyone. Welcome to the Unapologetic Women Facebook live interview series. This is Alexandra Moga.
Hey.
And we're also filming on Instagram, so hi to Alexandra's Instagram peeps.
Hey guys.
Okay, so basically I asked Alexandra to come on because she's a very experienced Kundalini Yoga teacher and has all these other amazing skills and fun things that she likes to do, and she told me about moon centers and I thought it was really cool and really helpful. So tell us a little bit about you and then we can get into that. Tell us your life story and your background.
All right, well, I'll give you guys the short version because I tend to ramble sometimes. So I grew up in New York City and have sort of been exposed to different cultures and different ways of life from birth. My parents were Romanian immigrants, are Romanian immigrants, and so I grew up in this big sort of sprawling city, but in this bubble of Greek, Romanian, sort of the diaspora in Queens of international people and communities, and spent a lot of time going back and forth between Romania and New York, in the summers especially. And my aunt got into yoga and meditation, mostly meditation, when I was pretty young, probably like 5 or 6.
Wow.
And then she, when I would go on summer breaks, she would always kind of like take care of me and, you know, set up reading sessions and writing and learning Romanian, and she also did meditation with me. So she was the one that planted the seeds, sort of, and she had a whole community of people and a teacher in India, and was super into that sort of world of meditation. And it was actually a Kundalini Yoga.
Really?
Not the kind that we see like typically here today, Yogi Bhajan style, but a different kind of Kundalini. And I just remember sitting with her and her like teaching me all these movements up my central channel, and like
when you were like 5?
Like 7 probably.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Yeah, so I learned how to be quiet with her. I was like a really crazy kid, kind of loud and playful.
Calm down.
Yeah, and she was like, okay, we need to handle this situation. So I think from that moment on, I started developing awareness or some other feeling. I remember being really sick with chicken pox and having this sort of out-of-body experience where I realized that I could leave and see myself and feel myself from a distance and sort of like separate from the pain. And then I would get bad migraines sometimes when I was a kid, and I also one day just like realized that I could like stop the pain by relaxing my forehead and my third eye and sort of like unhooking from the feeling of like pain.
How old were you?
That I was probably like 14.
Wow.
So I started doing like the typical yoga movements, asana classes when I was 15. I was really athletic, and my soccer coach was doing a yoga course, and I was like, okay, I'll do it. And just really into like anything physical. And then I went off to college in Europe, and it was less yoga, more party and travel and have fun. And but I do remember in these key moments when I was really like feeling lost and sad and, you know, depressed or anxious, I would turn to yoga DVDs that I had.
Nice.
And like go to the school library and check out these books on Buddhism, and sort of always searching spiritually. And then I moved back to the States and was sort of like, oh no, what do I do now? College is over, got a job that I didn't love, did a lot of hot yoga to deal with that and just kind
sweat
of
it
like
out,
process and figure out my life. And then one thing led to another. I met an Ashtanga teacher, and he sort of like took me under his wing and brought me to his home practice. He had like a group of yogis that would come to his house every week, his apartment. And he's still teaching in New York. Amazing teacher, David Hollander. Just like Ashtanga, classic, good, deep teacher. And then he was like, we're doing a training, you should do it. And I was like, yeah, I should.
Like a teacher training?
And so I was like, okay, that sounds amazing. And, you know, did the 200 hour, and that was sort of the deepening of my commitment as like, okay, this is going to be my life.
Yeah.
And it was always a little bit back and forth, like, oh, I want to be in the world and have fun and go out and party and do all these things. And then gradually over time, it was just like I was getting more and more into that inner space of meditation.
Yeah.
I moved into my own place, so I wasn't living with friends, and I just sort of like, detached from the world in my 20s and was very much in this inner space, teaching a lot and figuring out like, who am I as a teacher, and riding that line of like, I know some things, but I also have that imposter syndrome, and just like showing up for it every day and talking through my sort of nervousness and stage fright of being in front of people and being like,
it's scary.
Who am I? I don't know shit. Why am I telling a 50-year-old woman like about spirituality? I'm like 20 something, and it was just that whole sort of strange awkward phase of growing into yourself and earning what you know and putting in the work. And then I just kept going and deepening, and I was like, I'm going to India this year. That was in 2012, and I was looking for the real heart of yoga, and like, okay, what is it beyond the postures, the physical practice? And that's when I came into the bhakti yoga practice. And that really transformed my life, because it opened me up to a family, a community of yogis who were really living it off the mat, on the mat. There is no mat. It's a whole relationship with divinity that we're cultivating, and that is ultimately, you know, when you look at the limbs of yoga, that final limb is like complete immersion samadhi. So there's no separation between you and God, and you're constantly absorbed in meditating on the divine. And you know, there's many ways of getting there, and the bhakti yoga path is one of singing, dancing, and eating. So I was like, I
couldn't get down with this.
I can't get down with this. And the community was so vibrant, and I just looked around, and I was like, these people seem genuinely happy, and just like so sweet and kind and intelligent. So, you know, it was a deep dive into a culture, a totally different culture that spans all different countries of the world.
That's so cool.
There's these subcultures of community of bhakti yogis in almost every country in the world. So
cool.
Yeah, and Kundalini Yoga was always the sort of like undercurrent of my personal practice. And you know, while I would do vinyasa classes, I would always kind of come back to Kundalini, because it was such a powerful experience that I would have after every class.
Right.
And then I did a Kundalini training, and it's unfolded to be my personal practice, what I love to share most about. But I always kind of blend in that bhakti element, because it just feels like it's not complete. Like even in my 200 hour, I was like, okay, this is great, but what does this all lead to? What's like the point? Is it just to feel good? Is it like the philosophy wasn't completely satisfying? So the bhakti element, when that finally came in, and then I had the Kundalini of the like, this is the science of really transforming your brain and your subconscious mind, and bringing your body into this like really high octane level of health, and you know, which is constantly in flux, but it's definitely a tool for our times now. That
especially now,
the more I read, like, it seems so incredibly prophetic, because Yogi Bhajan was like, there will be a time when these teachings are going to be so necessary, humanity will be going insane. And I'm like, oh, is it now?
It's
is
now.
that time it seems to be very much like, yeah, we need this. It's not even like a luxury. We need it, absolutely. We need to come back to ourselves and meditate and reset, because there's so much noise and so much pressure from the world, from the outside in, and we can only sort of build up the strength from inside out to sort of mitigate and push back and create a safe, sort of harmonious, stable container for ourselves to continue to like evolve and process and ultimately find, you know, love and joy. So
Okay, yes. And that's so true what you're saying about like we need these, and especially with Kundalini, so much of the breath work I feel. And I feel like breath work's super popular right now, and people, I've been starting to do it just because lungs, like corona, like strengthen your lungs, strengthen your immune system. And I feel like that's been just super important, and I feel like a lot of people are really starting to do that a lot.
Totally. And there's like a prescription for every illness in a sense. And I just really believe in the power of the body to heal itself, and if we just sort of give it the right ingredients to do so and take part in that, because any spiritual path, it's not just something you can sort of receive and buy into, or it's like a daily investment. And life itself is a spiritual path, and whatever we've committed to in our lives, it takes dedication and showing up every day. So that in and of itself is like a deep spiritual experience to go deep with something and commit to, you know, a family or a career path or your own personal evolution, all of the above, you know. Life is so kind of layered like that.
And I think it's so true, because with spirituality now, even like I do this, a lot of people do this, it's like, okay, you go to your yoga class, your hour, and then you leave, and then you just go back. But it's really integrating that with every aspect of your life.
Yeah, and I think the key point is like, well, how do we do that? And why should we do that? And it really comes back to relationship. Because we are isolating more and more. Obviously, even before Corona, there was this trend just through technology and through capitalism of being like completely self-sufficient, and I'm gonna get what I need, and we're not as like interdependent, and you know, that sort of dries the heart. And when we establish this sort of bigger goal of yoga as developing a relationship with Source, that immediately fills whatever those God-shaped holes are in us that we try to do with drinking or shopping or sex or whatever, you know. And it's definitely calling us to claim like our higher expression and what's really possible in life, instead of just sort of surviving, to infuse every moment, or every day at least, some moments in every day with some sort of auspiciousness, something that's gonna like cut through the clouds of fear and anxiety and delusion, and sort of shine that light of hope and love, and like, okay, I'm seeing you in my life. Yes, I want to continue to have a conversation with you, whether, you know, whatever your concept or personage is of spirit. And so, yeah, I think that just makes life so much more rich and sacred and just fulfilling. We all get there some way, you know. Rock bottoms are a really good way to get back, get on your knees and like if you exist, God, give me a sign. You
Yeah.
know? And it's really,
always in like the final hour, and you're like, please show me something.
It's just like goes to show that, I don't know, all the darkness has its merit. It's just part of this world, but yeah.
Wow, that was all beautiful. That was so many beautiful, amazing things. I'm like, what do we talk about from that?
What
That
are we
was
here
amazing.
to? Yeah.
Okay, we're talking about moon
Yeah.
centers. And guys, let us know if you're still listening, if you can hear us. Okay. But there's a couple people watching. Hi, Bridget and Brittany and Kendra. Hey. Hey, everybody on Insta.
Got the thumbs up.
Okay, moon centers.
Mm-hmm.
These are so cool.
Yes. So, Kundalini Yoga, it's sort of a combination of the tantric. So Tantra is present in sort of every branch of yoga, whether it's deity worship, or asana and breathwork and meditation, or studying of sacred literature, or selfless service, karma yoga. And what Tantra really boils down to is harmonizing spirit and matter, and employing matter in the service of spirit.
Oh.
Right? So we're kind of weaving together these two sacred elements, the seen and the unseen, and then the seen that lives within the unseen, and the unseen that lives within the seen. That sort of yin yang. We're getting deep. No.
Seriously.
So Kundalini Yoga has a whole set of these women's teachings that are designed for the energy of the female.
Wait, I didn't realize that was part of Kundalini.
Yes.
Cool.
So
I like that.
I think it's more important now because I think with the Me Too movement, all of these sort of like feminist revivals, etc., we're seeing that the sacred divine feminine is not really present in society. Even in the feminist movement, it's very much
It's like that fire, that like masculine energy.
Right.
Which is sometimes needed for change.
Right, for sure. But I think the sort of the remedy to so much of this like upheaval, and I read this a lot when I kind of play with the I Ching, is this retreat, this stepping back and being receptive and just waiting and listening and creating this sort of yin space for the truth to show itself. Because if we're so much like calculating or projecting, there's very little room for things to emerge from this like deeper layer of awareness. And it's just not obvious, it's not quick, so I think there's a hesitation maybe to sit in that. But on the other hand, that's what this whole year seems to be about, is like everyone stop, shut up, listen, both in your own personal life, listen to the struggles of underserved and oppressed groups of people. So these women's teachings really seek to empower the base of society, which is the woman. And the woman holds the container for a relationship. If the woman is happy and healthy and satisfied, then the man will receive so many blessings and so much auspiciousness, and the household will radiate a sort of wealth and health. So even just from like a material practical perspective, you know, for men to hold that steady container for a woman to ebb and flow and be as she will, as the moon does, wax and wane, then there's a real sort of safety for transformation, for the gifts of the woman to emerge. but if the man is himself overtaken by the sort of psychosis of our modern world,
Yeah.
then it's very difficult for those two energies to sort of work in harmony with one another.
Mm-hmm. Is that,
But
can I ask a question? Like, is that kind of because as women, like, we have that, like, creative force, like, we create life,
Yeah.
and is that kind of part of it, why we need that space to,
Yeah.
like, create and have the space to bring things to life? Is that part of it?
Yeah. And, they might seem as like sort of archaic roles, but I think when you go down into the energetics of it, it's simply safety. Structure is needed for chaos or creativity, healthy chaos, to flourish in a way that isn't impeded by insecurity or a hesitation or, the more sort of like flip side of the energies of creativity, which could be destructive.
Yeah.
And sort of spiral out into, I think we've all experienced as women the potential for destructive behavior and the spiraling of like that creative energy that doesn't have a place to be directed and sort of constructively utilized.
Yeah.
Then it sort of goes out into chaos and starts to destroy. But the moon centers are really teachings that serve to tune us in to the specific energies that are influencing us and use them to their potential, to the maximum sort of vibrational potential for those energies.
Yes.
So the masculine energy, it doesn't have to be male or female, but just masculine energy, right? It's solar. The sun is always burning. It's always there, one-pointed, focused. The moon is as well, but apparently to our eyes, it is growing and waxing and waning. And if you're into astrology, you'll notice every 2.5 days, we're in a different sign. So we were in Aquarius, we just had the moon in Aquarius on Monday. So Monday and Tuesday, the moon was in Aquarius. Today, the moon has moved into Pisces. Tomorrow,
I didn't realize it does that every 2.5 days.
So it's constantly moving from one zodiac sign
This
to another.
explains so much.
Right, yeah. And then for women, our moon sign, so we have 11 moon centers, and they're sensitive points on the body that contain certain qualities of energy. And every 2.5 days, as a woman, we move from one moon center, one energetic signature, into another. And then the cycle is completed in 29 days, 28 days. So you have this shift of energy. And one day you might be feeling like, I'm getting everything done off my to-do list, I'm checking everything off. I feel really productive, I feel in my power. And then all of a sudden, the next day, it's sort of like, I'm depressed, I'm nobody, like, who am I? I feel like crap. And sometimes, yes, that's hormonal.
Yeah.
But when we look at the moon center sort of science, that's completely independent of our menstrual cycle and independent of an astrological cycle. So it's a very personal, very specific to each and every female out there.
Cool.
So that finding of your own personal cycle is a really cool. I didn't bring my pendulum. Okay, I want to go get it.
Yeah, go
Should
get
I
it.
go run and get it? Okay,
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
And now for our commercial break. Guys, let us know if you can hear us okay. Thanks for joining. Alexandra's gonna go get her pendulum and maybe she can show me what my moon centers are. If that's how that works. I'm not exactly sure. Let me see. Hey y'all. Cool. Bring it a little closer. And guys, let us know if you have any questions. Just drop them and Alexandra will answer them for you. All right, here she is. She's back.
So, for those that don't have a pendulum, no biggie. You don't really need a formal pendulum. You can use anything that is of a natural material. So I like to use this rose quartz pendant, which is on a little string, and there's a tangle of stuff there, so we're just gonna put that off to the side.
Use what you have, people.
Yes, so a natural material on the end of a string. So if you have like a necklace with a pendant, and that necklace is made of silver or gold, that's wonderful, right? So I'm just using a really simple, it's a string, just a whatever cloth string, and this little rose quartz pendant. And you can use, again, any sort of pendant.
My pendulum is a rose quartz too.
Nice. Yeah, rose quartz is sweet to work with. So this requires a little bit of dedication to track your moon center cycle. You have to kind of check in with yourself every day over the course of a month. Or every other day once you kind of get into a rhythm. So there are 11 moon centers, and the first one is the arc line, which goes from ear to ear. Then you have your eyebrows, your lips, the earlobes, the back of your neck, your breasts, your navel, your vagina, the clitoris, and the inner thighs.
Wow.
So each moon center has a quality of energy that it embodies. So for example, if you're feeling really like a visionary, like, oh, I want to plan my life out, I want to like creatively imagine a project and see like this outcome, likely you're in your eyebrows. If you're feeling, you're sort of in this like very visionary state of being. If you're feeling like, I have so much energy, I'm gonna get everything done on my to-do list, I'm gonna power through this day, I'm gonna kick ass, you're probably in the navel. If you're feeling like you just wanna go inwards and connect intimately with your very closest ones, friends, family, partner, you're probably in the vagina, right? So every single moon center has like a quality of energy and something that it is ideal to get started or to tap into during that phase.
Cool.
And if you're imbalanced, if you haven't really been eating right or taking care of yourself or exercising and feeling kind of off, you know, you could be expressing the more, I don't want to say negative, but yeah, the negative qualities of each moon center.
Right.
So feeling insecure or feeling disconnected from a purpose, feeling like you're desperate for connection and sort of hooking up with the wrong people because you just want someone there and not really thinking clearly that, oh, I should kind of vet this person or whatever. Or
We've all
being
been
like
there.
lessons, or being like catty and cliquey instead of like creating community and loving your friends. So yeah, it's good to know that each moon center has its like positive, its negatives, and then like sort of that space where you can make the most of it. So you get your pendulum, and what's really awesome, the body knows things that we're not consciously aware of. So it's helpful to just simply ask a yes or no question. And the yes or no question is, am I in my eyebrows? And you kind of go down the list of each moon center and you ask the pendulum, and it'll swing one way for yes and it'll swing another way for no, because your body has the answer. It knows where you are. And the electromagnetic field of the heart will radiate the energy that corresponds with yes or no. And this pendulum is simply picking up on that frequency and being moved by it. So I like to hold my left hand underneath. So you kind of hold this pendulum right in front of your heart center. And then you start saying or thinking the word yes, yes, yes. So for me, yes, in my body, it feels a certain way. We all know how a yes feels, right? In our heart, in our chest. And that creates a back and forth movement in my pendulum. It might be different for everybody. So now I'm thinking no. No, I don't want it. No.
No way.
And the pendulum.
Now it's going side to side. If you guys can't see it.
Pendulum's moving left and right. So yes and no create a different vibration, right? Because our heart is a magnet. And the electromagnetic field of the heart ultimately communicates invisibly. It communicates through our aura, and it sort of is the holder of our energy that we walk into a room with. So then you sort of like, okay, I see my yes, I see my no. Then you can start to ask out loud, am I in my eyebrows? So am I in my eyebrows? My body's like, no, you are not. So I'm not.
This is wild.
Am I in my lips? I don't actually know which center I'm in. I have my cycle somewhere. Am I in the back of my neck? Am I in my cheeks? Am I in my navel? Am I in my breasts? And you kind of give it a second to
how long do you
respond. Depending on like how, if you see it starting to slow down, then you kind of like give it a second.
Yeah.
But this is pretty clear, resonant no so far. Am I in my eyebrows? Did I already say that one? Can't remember.
Yeah, I think you gotta do arc and earlobes.
Yes. Am I in my arc line? Am I in my earlobes? Am I in my inner thighs? Am I in my vagina? Am I in my clitoris? Okay.
Oh.
Well, now the whole world knows. I'm just kidding.
Oh my god.
Okay, let's just reconfirm. Am I in my clitoris? Okay. Am I in the back of my neck? Am I in the back of my neck? Okay, no.
No.
Am I in my clitoris? Yes. Okay.
Whoa.
Yeah. Pretty mind-blowing. So
Cool.
Yeah.
I've done this with like chakras. Like
Mhm.
I've done the pendulum with people's chakras, but I didn't know you could do it with this.
Cool. What do you do with the chakras?
Same thing. It usually goes in like a circle.
And asking like which one is imbalanced, or
Usually I'll do how I learned to do it. I think there's different ways that you can do it. But like obviously there's your 7 chakras, so you just hold the pendulum above each chakra. And there's different ways you can do it. One person I learned from did different symbols for masculine and feminine. But one person was just like, okay, if it goes in a circle, it means it's balanced because a chakra is like a wheel. And then they were like, if it goes clockwise, or it's out of balance, or if it's just kind of all over, if it doesn't move, it's blocked.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
Amazing.
cool. We should do another live on that.
Yeah. So knowing this,
Yeah, so what does this mean?
So clitoris is like a very flirty sort of, I'm going to have fun with my girlfriends. Let's kind of play and have fun, romantic kind of energy, right? Which is kind of fun to like have a chat with all of these ladies.
Perfect day.
And
clitoris day.
Yeah, okay. Just for me though, not you. Everyone's got their own, and that's the thing. So it's said that your cycle is set in the womb.
Whoa.
And then it stays the same for your whole life.
Whoa.
If you get into like have some really intense trauma in your life, it could jump and move into a different center as sort of like a
your base
defense, or like protective instinct if your body needs it. But generally, every woman's cycle is completely unique and remains the same for her life. So whatever, I don't know what comes after clitoris for me. It might be back of the neck.
Oh, so not everyone's is in the same order?
Mm-mm.
Oh.
Completely unique. So it's good to sort of like, I love Google, Excel, whatever, spreadsheets. So I kept a spreadsheet, okay, on this day it was this, check in the next day, it was that. Maybe it jumped or it was the same one. And then, you know, you might feel like in the middle of the day, a shift of energy. You're like, okay, I think I just moved into a different mood center.
This explains so much because I feel like my moods change all the time.
Yes.
And I thought I was just really moody, but then I was like,
You're a woman.
I'm a woman.
That's just how it is. And I think knowing that, our sort of very mechanical society, the way it's been developing over the last 200 years or so, is so bottom line. And, low power mode. It's so bottom line and, against all odds, keep working, keep doing, keep serving the, shareholders, the growth, the unnatural, exploitation of Mother Nature and our fellow humans for a select few to succeed. And anything that doesn't fall into line with that is seen as inconvenient or wrong or
woo-woo.
Yeah, or just like needs to be changed because it's not right.
Or it's like if you can't measure something, or if it doesn't have like a monetary value,
right.
or
And just like if you study permaculture or just observe through nature, every single animal has its role. Like without the bugs, then the birds won't eat. Without the birds, then another animal, and so on and so forth. And if we sort of go against this natural what happened? I guess pause due to poor connection. If we go against this natural order of things, there's going to be a repercussion, and we see that in society as like an imbalance, and it's covered over through so many things. But once we honor these natural cycles and see them as our friends instead of something to control or demonize, I think then we can get the most out of them and what they're really meant to do.
Yeah.
So, I don't know why this isn't working anymore, but
it's okay.
Oh well.
I usually do like 45.
So, yeah. I have a packet, a PDF packet. So for anyone who would like to learn more about the moon centers, I encourage you to drop me your email or you the email or wherever, and I can send it out. I don't know what. Oh, I guess it's just the screen. Okay.
Yeah, just the screen. I think it's still on.
So I will send out, because then you have sort of recommendations of how to optimize that moon center, and the sort of ultimate goal. It frames all of that knowledge in the teachings of what are the 4 pillars of life. artha, which is your financial, your material pillar of I have to make money and serve in the world. Kama, your desire, your pleasure through our relationships. Moksha is sort of spiritual liberation and connection to source. And then dharma, what is my purpose? What is my sort of responsibility to this life that I have? Right? So those are the pillars of life that we sort of build upon. And then there's a fifth one, which is sort of the crown jewel of our goals in this world, which is ultimately connecting back to source and using all those pillars in service of spirit. So just kind of contextualizing it. And then there's also a specific meditation that is for women. It's a moon center meditation.
Cool.
To help balance the fluctuations that you experience. Yes. Yeah, and that's in the packet also.
Cool. So. Okay, I don't know if anyone is still live, but let us know if you have questions. That was wild. Like, just your body knowing. And I've seen it with the chakras, so I don't know why I was so surprised. But it's like, it's so kind of, we're so taught to not trust our bodies and kind of trust external sources almost.
Yeah.
That when your body does tell you something, you kind of, at least I like second guess it sometimes, Because always like go to the doctor, look it up online, WebMD it, And so it's so cool to just be able to tap in and be like, is this a yes? Is this a no?
Right. And even just like buying, if you need to buy something for your health. I have one Ayurvedic doctor, she uses muscle testing with certain herbs to see like how the body is responding to this medicine, if it needs it, if it doesn't. And
that's so cool.
If you're in like the grocery aisle, like which supplement should I use? You can even like pull your pendulum out at the Kroger, maybe not Kroger, but
maybe that's one for Whole Foods.
Yeah, the turnip truck or something. And get your little oils, like essential oils, supplements. Let the body sort of tell you in its own silent, magical way, because it's expressing that life force that is animating it, that spiritual spark that is your soul, and that's ultimately our sort of thread back to source and connection. So
cool. Thank you for sharing.
So
that was
welcome.
So cool. Okay, guys. All of Alexandra put her Insta and her website, and just email us if you want that packet on moon centers so you can get a pendulum and do that yourself. I know I'm going to start my Google Doc spreadsheet and track myself.
It's super fun. And then you can see like each day of, now I'm in my lips. This is a good day to like open up that conversation maybe I've been putting off.
Ooh.
And use the power of my speech to communicate effectively. Or, I'm in my eyebrows, maybe I should sit down and put that business plan together that I've been putting off. Like, I have that power behind me that will really enhance the energy needed to do that sort of task. And then the back of neck, that's like a wild card day. So it's like, I better not
Don't
start
plan
shit.
anything.
Don't go shopping. I'm going to buy a lot of crap. I'm going to spend a lot of money. I'm going to get into a fight with someone. Like, let me keep it chill. Pray to God today, because this day is not.
I love that.
No, Satan, not having it, whatever.
That's hilarious. Oh
So,
my God.
yeah.
Cool.
We're magical beings.
We're so magical. Remember that you are magical. Thank you.
Totally. Thank you, Lauren. This
so
is
cool.
awesome. Grateful to share.
Yeah, I love it. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay.